Your outer world is nothing but a reflection of your inner philosophy. Change your thinking, and your circumstances will follow. This is the foundation no one can take from you. This is a powerful idea because it puts control where it belongs. With you, no one can control your thoughts. No one can dictate the beliefs you choose to hold. If you begin to think like a person who is destined for wealth, if you truly believe that you have the ability to create financial success, your world will start shifting to match those beliefs. There's an old saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. That is the essence of the secret. Your thinking is the blueprint, and your belief is the foundation. When you build these well, the house of your achievement will stand strong against any storm. So today, ask yourself, what philosophy am I living by? Am I thinking like a winner? Do I truly believe that wealth, success, and freedom are possible for me? If not, it's time to change the story you tell yourself. Because when you do, your circumstances won't be able to resist changing too. Remember, the wealth you desire is the natural outcome of a mind aligned with success. So, plant the right seeds today, water them with belief, and take the daily steps that bring your vision to life. Because when your thinking changes, your world will follow. And that is the real secret to wealth. When I first began my journey, I believed wealth was simply about how much money I made. But over time, I realized that real wealth isn't about the paycheck or the numbers in your bank account. It's about what you own, what you build, and how you make your money work for you. That's a profound shift in thinking, and it changes everything. See, most people get caught in a cycle where they focus on expenses. They think about the cost of things, what they need to buy, what bills to pay, what debt to settle. Their minds revolve around the outflow of money rather than the inflow. They ask, can I afford this? Or, how will I cover that? But the wealthy think differently. Their minds are tuned to assets, to what they can acquire or create that will generate income without requiring their constant presence. They ask, what can I own that will keep giving back? This distinction is critical. When you think like an employee, you work for money. You trade your hours for a paycheck. You earn, then spend. But when you think in assets, your money begins to work for you. You invest in stocks, bonds, real estate, businesses, anything that can produce income or appreciate over time. Instead of working harder, you let your assets multiply, compounding your wealth in the background while you focus on new opportunities. I remember early in my career, I bought a car that I thought was a symbol of success. But that car was a liability. It cost me money every month in payments, insurance, maintenance. It never earned a cent. It only consumed. Later, I learned to distinguish between liabilities and assets, understanding that not all possessions contribute to wealth. Owning a rental property, for example, can bring in steady cash flow. Investing in a dividend-paying stock can generate income without effort. This mindset separates the wealthy from the rest. Owning assets is not about flashy purchases. It's about creating value and security. It's about the long game planting seeds that will grow into forests over time. And the beautiful part is, this approach is available to everyone, no matter where you start. You don't need a fortune to begin. Start with small investments, save consistently, and keep your focus on acquiring assets that will work for you long after you've stopped working yourself. This thinking also frees you from the trap of living paycheck to paycheck. When your assets generate income, you gain freedom to choose how you spend your time, freedom to take calculated risks, freedom to build a legacy. This shift from expense-driven thinking to asset-driven thinking is a transformation of your entire financial philosophy. I encourage you to look at your finances today and ask, are my dollars fueling liabilities? Or are they building assets? Are my purchases creating value or consuming my potential? Every dollar you earn is an employee. Will you let it sit idle or put it to work? Wealth is built not by luck, but by the conscious decision to think in terms of assets and ownership. This shift is the foundation upon which all financial success is built. Start thinking like an owner, an investor, a creator of value, and you will begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles. And as your assets grow, so will your freedom. Remember, money is a tool, a powerful one, but only if you use it wisely. Focus on assets and watch your wealth begin to multiply. This mindset is your true capital. Guard it, nurture it, and build upon it every day. The journey to wealth begins not in your bank account, but in your mind. When I think about the people who have truly built lasting wealth, I notice a common thread that runs through their stories: not sudden luck, not huge windfalls, but small, consistent actions repeated day after day, year after year. The power of small disciplines is often overlooked because it seems too simple, almost insignificant in the moment. Yet, it is this very simplicity that forms the foundation of all great fortunes. You see, wealth is not created overnight. It's not about hitting the jackpot or stumbling on a secret formula. It's about the habits you cultivate every single day. The wealthy understand this deeply. They don't wait for some grand opportunity to change their financial lives. They create opportunities by faithfully saving a portion of their income, investing regularly, and educating themselves continually. This is discipline, the art of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Think about the compound effect in your finances. Saving just a small amount each week or month might seem trivial, but over time, those small amounts grow, feeding on themselves. The money earns interest, which earns interest again. This compounding is a force so powerful that Albert Einstein reportedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. And it works only when you are disciplined and consistent. Let me share a story from my own life. Early on, I didn't have a lot of money. I wasn't earning a fortune, but I made it a habit to save and invest just a little bit every month. At times, I had to skip some comforts, tighten my belt, and make choices that weren't always popular. But I knew that these small sacrifices, repeated over time, would build something greater than any one-time windfall. Years later, those small deposits and investments began to grow, creating the kind of financial freedom I once thought was impossible. And it's not just about money. The wealthy also invest in their minds daily. They read books, listen to lectures, surround themselves with mentors and like-minded individuals. This continuous learning sharpens their ability to spot opportunities and avoid pitfalls. The discipline to grow mentally fuels their financial growth. Consistency transforms belief into an unstoppable force. When you believe in yourself and commit to small, positive actions daily, you create momentum. That momentum turns into habits. Habits become character. And character, my friends, is what builds empires. Without discipline, your belief is just wishful thinking. But with it, belief becomes the fuel that drives you forward through challenges and setbacks. Remember, small disciplines practiced consistently outpace sporadic bursts of effort. Wealth isn't built on grand gestures, but on daily choices: saving instead of spending, learning instead of ignoring, investing instead of hoarding cash. Those choices compound just like your money, and before you know it, you have created a legacy. So, if you want to unlock the secret to lasting wealth, don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect amount of money. Start where you are with what you have. Make the commitment today to practice small disciplines every day. Believe in their power, trust the process, and watch how consistency turns your belief into an unstoppable force. This is the true secret to building wealth: small steps, faithfully taken. There's a common misconception that more money will solve all your problems, that if only the balance in your bank account were larger, everything in life would magically fall into place. It's a tempting belief because it simplifies the complexities of life into one fixable number. But the truth, my friends, is far more nuanced and much more empowering. Money by itself is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's simply a tool, a reflection of your habits, your discipline, your mindset. The more money you have, the more your habits and character get amplified. Money acts like a magnifying glass. It reveals who you truly are beneath the surface. If you have poor habits and a lack of discipline, having more money will only multiply those challenges. Conversely, If you cultivate discipline and wise habits when you have little, that discipline will help you manage more wealth responsibly when it comes your way. Think back on the times you've seen people come into sudden wealth, only to lose it quickly. It's almost always because their internal foundation wasn't strong enough. Their habits, their mindset, and their discipline hadn't been developed. Wealth wasn't the problem. The problem was the lack of preparation to handle it. It's the classic case of pouring water into a cracked bucket. No matter how much you pour, it will always leak out unless you first repair the bucket. In my own experience, I've met countless individuals who started with very little but developed the discipline to manage their money wisely. They didn't wait until they were rich to build good habits. They started small. They learned to track their expenses, save regularly, and avoid impulsive spending. They studied financial literacy, sought mentorship, and cultivated patience. Over time, those small disciplines accumulated, and as their income grew, they were ready to handle it. Their money became a tool for freedom and growth rather than a source of stress. On the other hand, I've also seen people who believed more money would fix everything, but they never mastered managing what they already had. When more money came, it created more chaos, more problems, and more pressure. Their habits didn't change, so their outcomes didn't improve. So the real fix lies in understanding that money amplifies habits, it doesn't change them. The secret is to develop discipline with a little so you are ready to manage a lot. Start where you are. Build control over your spending. Learn to save and invest and strengthen your financial literacy. This is what prepares you to use wealth wisely. Before chasing more money, focus on mastering the money you have. Build discipline daily, because when you do, wealth becomes a servant to your goals, not a master of your life. And that, my friends, is the foundation of true financial success. When we talk about building wealth, it's easy to focus on the numbers, the dollars and cents, the income, the investments. But there's a more powerful foundation beneath all of that, and it's not a bank account or a portfolio. It's education. Specifically, financial education. The wealthy understand that knowledge isn't just power. It's the lever that moves the entire machine of freedom. Think about it. Money itself is a tool, but how you wield that tool depends entirely on what you know. The man or woman who understands the language of finance, who grasps how markets move, who knows the difference between assets and liabilities, that person has a distinct advantage over someone who doesn't. The best investment you will ever make is in your own mind, and that means continuous learning. In my own life, the shift didn't come when I suddenly earned more. It came when I started to read, to listen, and to ask questions. I wasn't born into wealth or handed a financial blueprint. I had to learn it step by step, book by book, conversation by conversation. The books I read about money and success shaped the way I thought. The people I talked to broadened my understanding. Every piece of knowledge built upon the last, and it formed a foundation strong enough to support real, lasting wealth. And here's a truth I've seen over and over. The wealthy don't just learn once and stop. They're constantly evolving. Markets change, new opportunities emerge, and so do risks. If you stop learning, you stop growing. And in the world of finance, standing still means falling behind. That's why the most successful people I've known spend hours each week reading, attending seminars, seeking out mentors. It's not because they know everything. It's because they understand how much there is to learn. Financial literacy also teaches you how to separate facts from fears and emotions from decisions. Many people avoid investing or saving because they feel overwhelmed or intimidated. Education breaks down those barriers. It gives you clarity and confidence. When you understand what you're doing, when you have a plan based on knowledge and not guesswork, your financial decisions become intentional and powerful. But education isn't limited to formal classes or books. It's about curiosity, asking questions, seeking advice, and being open to new ideas. It's about humility, recognizing that you don't know everything and being willing to grow. The moment you stop thinking you have all the answers is the moment you open the door to true learning and, with it, real wealth. So, if you want to unlock the secret to financial success, start here. Commit to education. Make it a daily habit to learn something new about money, whether that's reading an article, listening to a podcast, or having a conversation with someone who knows more than you do. The mind that invests in knowledge will always earn the highest returns. Because true wealth isn't just the money you accumulate, it's the wisdom that guides how you use it. I want to talk about something that often goes overlooked, but is absolutely critical to building real wealth. Having a clear, specific financial goal. Without a defined target, your money is like a ship without a rudder, aimless, drifting and vulnerable to every wave. I've seen this time and again. People working hard, earning money, but never really moving forward because they don't know exactly what they want to achieve. Think about it if you don't decide on a clear financial goal. How will you know when you've arrived? How will you measure progress? Without specificity, your intentions stay vague, your efforts scattered. It's the difference between saying, I want to be rich someday, and I want to save $100,000 for a home down payment in 5 years. One is a dream, the other is a plan. In my experience, the moment you write down an exact number, something shifts. It creates urgency and clarity. Suddenly you have a target to aim at, and every decision becomes a step toward that goal. It transforms vague hope into actionable purpose. I remember early in my career when I wrote down my financial goals, not just vague wishes, but clear, measurable numbers and deadlines. That act alone gave me a sense of control. It focused my efforts and made every dollar earned or spent a conscious choice. Specificity also forces you to break down your goal into smaller, manageable milestones. If you want to save $50,000 in 3 years, what does that mean? Monthly? Weekly? Daily? This breakdown creates a roadmap. It turns a large, intimidating number into simple, consistent actions. Without this, it's easy to become overwhelmed or distracted by spending on things that don't serve your vision. The clarity of a specific goal also helps guard against distractions and excuses. When you know exactly what you're working for, it's easier to say no to unnecessary expenses or impulsive purchases. Your financial decisions become aligned with your vision, not just reactions to the moment. And this alignment is what turns money management from a chore into a powerful habit. One practical step I recommend is this. Take a moment right now to write down your financial goal in precise terms. Don't say, I want more money. Say, I want to save $20,000 for an emergency fund in 12 months. Or, I want to invest $500 a month toward retirement. The clearer your goal, the stronger your commitment will be. Remember, money doesn't just respond to effort, it responds to intention. When you know exactly what you want and why, your mind works harder, your discipline grows, and your resources begin to align. The power of specificity is a secret weapon of the wealthy. If you want to change your financial story, start by deciding exactly where you want to go. Because without that, no amount of effort will ever feel like progress. When you start thinking about wealth, it's natural to focus on how much money you make each month, the paycheck, the commission, the sale. You think, if only I earned a little more, life would be easier. But here's a profound truth. True financial freedom isn't about adding a few extra dollars to your income. It's about multiplying what you already have. It's about making your money work for you, not just you working for your money. I've witnessed this lesson firsthand. Early in my career, I was like many trading hours for dollars, believing that more work meant more wealth. But the reality is there's only so much time in a day, and no matter how hard you work, your income has a ceiling. The key is to break free from that limit by shifting your mindset from addition to multiplication. The wealthy understand this intuitively. They focus their energy not just on earning more, but on investing in assets that generate returns, whether that's owning a business, buying real estate, or purchasing stocks and bonds. Each of these assets acts like a seed planted in fertile ground, growing and producing fruit long after the initial effort. This is the power of multiplication. Consider the power of compound interest and of the greatest forces in wealth building. When you invest wisely, the money you earn is reinvested, earning even more. It's not linear growth, it's exponential. This is why a small investment today can grow into a significant sum years down the road, long after you've stopped actively adding to it. I once met a man who had been saving a small portion of his income consistently, investing it steadily over decades. His annual contributions weren't extraordinary, but the compounding effect created a wealth far beyond what his paycheck alone could provide. This principle of multiplication applies to all areas of money. You must train yourself to think beyond the paycheck and toward creating streams of income that multiply over time. Moreover, multiplication isn't limited to financial assets. Think about your skills and knowledge. When you invest in yourself learning new skills, expanding your expertise, and building relationships, you're multiplying your earning potential in ways that simple hard work can't achieve. It's critical to stop believing that working harder is the only path to wealth. It's about working smarter, creating systems and investments that generate income with or without your constant presence. This mindset shift is the real secret behind the success of the wealthy. They don't chase dollars, they cultivate assets. So, instead of focusing solely on increasing your paycheck, ask yourself, how can I multiply what I have? How can I turn my savings into investments? How can I develop skills that open doors to new opportunities? When you start believing in multiplication, your financial future expands far beyond the limits of your current paycheck. This belief in multiplication is what turns financial goals into financial freedom. It changes your daily actions, your planning, and ultimately your destiny. It's not just about working for money, it's about letting money work for you. Let me share with you one of the most powerful truths about building wealth, a truth that has been around longer than any stock market or investment trend, yet still remains misunderstood by many. It's the principle of compound interest. I can't stress enough how critical it is to understand this if you want your money to truly work for you. Compound interest is not just a financial term. It's a law of nature, much like gravity. It's the magic that happens when your money earns money, and then that earned money earns more money. Think of it like planting a tiny seed that grows into a tree, which then produces thousands of seeds, each growing into their own trees. Over time, this exponential growth creates a forest. But here's the catch. It takes time to grow. The earlier you start, the more your money has the chance to multiply. I remember when I was young, I didn't fully grasp this concept. I thought that if I worked harder or found a better paying job, that was the key to wealth. But then a mentor helped me see the bigger picture, that it wasn't just about how much I earned, but how long I let my money work for me. He said, "Jim, the secret to wealth is to start planting those seeds early, watering them regularly, and never uprooting them." Those words changed my entire approach. The truth is, waiting for the right time to invest is the biggest mistake people make. You might think, "I'll start when I have more money," or "I'm too old to begin now." But compound interest rewards those who start early, even if it's with small amounts. It's about consistency and patience. Even investing a small sum every month can grow into a substantial amount given enough time. Another vital part of leveraging compound interest is reinvesting your returns. When you receive dividends or interest, don't be tempted to spend them. Instead, put them back to work and watch your investment snowball. The difference between reinvesting and spending those earnings can be staggering over the years. I once worked with a man who began investing in his 40s, putting aside a modest amount every month. By staying disciplined and reinvesting his earnings, he built a nest egg that replaced his salary before retirement. He never earned a fortune overnight, but through the power of compound interest and consistency, he created lasting wealth. Remember, compound interest is not about timing the market or making risky bets. It's about steady, consistent investing over time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. When you begin early, invest monthly, and reinvest your returns, you harness a force that can carry you to financial freedom. Don't underestimate the power of starting now. Even if you begin with just a small step, the habit you build today could be the foundation of your fortune tomorrow. The real secret isn't just in how much you invest, but in how long you let your money compound. Your future self will thank you for the seeds you plant today. I want to talk about a belief that holds many people back from building real wealth. The idea that you can't save or invest until all your debts are paid off. It sounds reasonable, even responsible, right? After all, if you're carrying credit card balances, loans, or other debts, it feels like the logical move is to clear those obligations before thinking about investing. But here's the problem. Waiting to be debt-free before you start saving or investing is a mindset that often keeps people stuck, trapped in a cycle of one day. And that one day may never come if you don't change your approach. I've met countless people over the years who say, I'm drowning in debt, so I can't possibly save or invest. But the truth is, you don't have to choose one or the other. You can and should do both. The wealthy don't wait to have everything perfect before they start planting seeds of wealth. They understand that even small, consistent investments started early can snowball into significant sums over time thanks to the power of compound interest. Starting early isn't just about the amount, it's about developing a habit, a discipline that turns into a lifelong practice. Let me share a story from my own life and from the lives of people I've worked with. I once coached a man who had more debt than savings and felt overwhelmed. Instead of waiting until every last cent was paid, we set up a simple plan. A small amount each month would go to paying down high-interest debt, and a smaller but consistent amount would go into a modest investment account. Within a year, his debt was noticeably reduced, and he had a growing financial cushion. That cushion gave him confidence and a sense of control he never had before. This dual approach broke the cycle of stress and scarcity. Waiting to be debt-free before investing can also rob you of the most valuable asset in investing time. Starting with small investments as you pay down debt allows your money to begin growing. Even a modest monthly contribution compounds over years to produce returns that would be impossible to catch up on later. Time is your ally, and it rewards action no matter how small. It's also about mindset. Debt is a burden, yes, but it's not a barrier to building wealth. The key is to manage debt wisely, focus on high-interest debt first, negotiate better terms if possible, and build a manageable repayment plan. Meanwhile, start your investment journey to build momentum and confidence. This way, you're not just fighting your past mistakes, you're creating your future opportunities. Remember, wealth isn't just a number in a bank account, it's a lifestyle of habits and decisions. The decision to invest, even a little, while managing debt, is a powerful shift in mindset from scarcity to abundance. It's saying, I'm not waiting for perfect conditions to create wealth. I'm creating wealth despite challenges. So, don't let the desire to be debt-free paralyze your progress. Instead, start saving and investing now, no matter how small the amount, and keep chipping away at debt. This balanced strategy is the practical way to build wealth that lasts. Wealth is not about perfection, it's about progress. Wealth is not a matter of luck or sudden fortune. It is a lifestyle, a consistent way of living that begins in the mind and moves through your beliefs into deliberate action. It's a simple but profound cycle. Think, believe, achieve. This isn't just a motivational slogan, it's a practical philosophy that shapes every decision and moment of your day. Each morning, the wealthy choose to think differently. They don't wake up burdened by past failures or overwhelmed by what they don't have. Instead, they choose to focus on opportunities, solutions, and growth. Their thoughts are intentional, guided by a vision of what's possible rather than what's probable. This doesn't mean they live in denial or wishful thinking. It means they train their minds to see the potential where others see obstacles. Belief is the fuel that powers those thoughts. It's one thing to have an idea or a plan, but without belief, those ideas remain dormant. Belief means having faith in your ability to grow, to learn, and to overcome setbacks. It means trusting that effort, consistency, and smart choices will pay off in time. When others doubt, the wealthy quietly believe. That belief doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's a quiet conviction that keeps them moving forward when the noise around them tempts them to quit. But belief alone is not enough. Belief must translate into action. This is where many falter. The hesitant wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or the ideal conditions. The wealthy act daily, often imperfectly, but consistently. They understand that wealth doesn't come from one grand move, but from the compound effect of small, deliberate actions taken every day. Paying yourself first, learning a new skill, reviewing your budget, investing a small amount. These daily choices build momentum. When you align your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions, you step into a powerful rhythm. You don't just pursue money, you attract it. Your mindset, your habits, and your energy send a clear message to the world and to yourself that you're serious about creating wealth. Opportunities begin to appear. Your confidence grows. Your network expands. Doors open. This cycle, think, believe, achieve, is not a quick fix. It's a lifelong lifestyle that requires discipline and patience. But it's also the most reliable path to financial freedom and personal fulfillment. When you adopt this rhythm, you're not dependent on external circumstances or random luck. You become the architect of your own success. Remember, wealth isn't just about numbers on a bank statement. It's about the freedom to live on your terms, to provide for your family, and to contribute meaningfully to the world. The secret is simple but powerful. What you think, you believe. What you believe, you act on. And what you act on, you achieve. So today, choose to think like a person who builds wealth. Believe that you can achieve it and act on that belief every day without fail. Your future is shaped by this lifestyle. Make it your own. Now I want to talk to you about something many overlook in the pursuit of wealth: how to stay financially motivated. Building wealth isn't just about knowledge or strategy. It's about mindset, endurance, and the daily drive to keep moving forward. Motivation is the engine that fuels your journey, but it's also something that can waver with setbacks, distractions, or the slow pace of progress. So, how do you keep the fire alive, especially when the results aren't instant and the road looks long? One powerful way is to start tracking your net worth regularly. Now, some might think this sounds complicated, but it's simpler than it appears. Your net worth is just a number representing the difference between what you own your assets and what you owe your liabilities. It's a snapshot of your financial health, and seeing this number improve over time is incredibly motivating. Imagine it as your financial scoreboard. Just like an athlete reviews their stats to see progress, you must monitor your net worth to know where you stand and how far you've come. Every month, set aside time to calculate this number. Gather the value of your savings accounts, investments, property, and subtract your debts and obligations. The act of tracking forces you to engage with your finances honestly and deliberately. More than that, it turns abstract ideas into concrete data. You can see the effect of your habits, your saving, your investing in real time. When you notice your net worth increasing, even by small amounts, celebrate that win. Every increase is proof that your efforts are working, that you're growing stronger financially. Celebration is not about extravagance, it's about acknowledging progress. It's easy to get discouraged when the journey seems slow or the goals distant, but motivation thrives on positive reinforcement. When you reward yourself for progress, you create a positive feedback loop that propels you forward. This could be as simple as a moment of gratitude, sharing your success with a trusted friend, or treating yourself modestly in a way that aligns with your goals. The key is to make your progress visible and meaningful. Visualization is another powerful tool to keep your motivation high. Picture your financial future clearly. What does it look like? Is it the peace of mind that comes with an emergency fund? The freedom to travel? The ability to support your family comfortably? Hold that vision vividly in your mind. When challenges arise, return to that image as a source of strength. Visualization isn't just wishful thinking. It primes your brain to focus on solutions and possibilities, keeping your eyes on the prize when distractions and doubts appear. Remind yourself daily, progress, no matter how small, is fuel for perseverance. Wealth is not built overnight, but it is built steadily. The compound effect works not just on money, but on motivation. The more you see yourself succeed, the more energy you have to keep going. Remember, even when the increase in your net worth seems tiny, it's a step forward, and every step adds up. I recall a time in my own journey when motivation was hard to find. The bank account was lean and progress was slow. But tracking every dollar, watching that net worth inch forward gave me hope and clarity. It was the light in the tunnel, the evidence that my discipline was paying off. I celebrated those small wins because they reminded me that my future was in my hands. So, take control of your motivation. Track, celebrate, visualize, and remind yourself daily. Let your progress be the fuel that never runs dry. Because when you keep your motivation alive, the wealth you seek becomes not just possible, but inevitable. As we come to the close of this conversation, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on what we've explored together. Wealth is not some distant, unreachable dream reserved for a fortunate few. It is a path, a journey paved by the choices you make every day, by the way you think, the beliefs you hold, and the actions you take. The simple truth is this: to think success, believe success, and act success is the real secret to building lasting wealth. Too many people wander through life waiting for some external event, a raise, a lucky break, an inheritance to change their financial story. But the reality is your financial destiny is not dictated by luck or by the economy. It is shaped by your mindset and your discipline. I've spent decades studying success and wealth, and I've seen countless examples of ordinary people with ordinary incomes and ordinary circumstances who transformed their lives simply by changing how they thought about money and how they acted upon those thoughts. The first step is in your mind. If you continue to see money as scarce, as something that is out there beyond your reach, then you will stay stuck. But when you begin to think in terms of opportunity, of abundance, and of growth, you open the door to new possibilities. The rich think in assets, not expenses. They see every dollar not as something to spend and forget, but as a work-caring employee that can be sent out to generate more wealth. This shift in thinking is fundamental. It changes your relationship with money from one of fear or frustration to one of respect and strategy. But thought alone is not enough. You must also believe in your ability to create and sustain wealth. Belief is the emotional commitment to your vision. It is the faith that your consistent efforts will bear fruit, even if the results are not immediate. This belief is what keeps you moving forward when times are tough, when setbacks arise, and when the path looks uncertain. Without belief, it's easy to fall prey to excuses, to doubt, to paralysis. And then, of course, belief must be matched with action. You cannot simply dream of wealth or wish for it to happen. Wealth is built one decision at a time, one habit at a time. The power of small disciplines, practiced daily and faithfully, compounds over time. Saving a little, investing a little, learning a little every day, these are the bricks that build the fortress of your financial future. The great fortunes you admire didn't come overnight. They came through years of consistent, sometimes unglamorous effort. Let me be clear, there will be obstacles. There will be days when you want to quit, when the temptation to give up feels strong. You may face financial setbacks, unexpected expenses, or even mistakes you wish you hadn't made. This is normal. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that the successful don't let these challenges define them. They see obstacles as lessons, as opportunities to grow wiser and stronger. One practical approach I encourage is to start small, but start now. Don't wait until you have enough money to invest or save. Start with what you have, no matter how little. The habit of investing regularly, even small amounts, is what creates momentum. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You don't wait for the perfect season. You start planting, watering, and nurturing. Over time, your small seeds grow into trees that bear fruit year after year. Another critical point is to educate yourself continuously. The world of finance, investing, and money management can seem complicated and intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Dedicate time to learning about money. Read books, attend workshops, listen to experts, ask questions. Remember, your financial education is one of the highest return investments you can make. The knowledge you gain empowers you to make informed decisions and avoid costly mistakes. And don't overlook the power of community. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, who share your values, and who inspire you to be better. Mentors, friends, and family who understand the importance of financial wisdom can keep you accountable and motivated. Wealth building is not a lonely road. It's one traveled best with support and shared purpose. Now, let's talk about your daily habits, because these are the real game changers. Your habits around money, how you budget, how you save, how you spend, create the framework for your financial life. If you live paycheck to paycheck, it's often because your habits don't support saving or investing. But by taking control of your finances with simple tools, tracking your spending, setting a budget, automating savings, you shift the balance of power back to you. You become the master of your money, not the other way around. And while you're working on growing your wealth, don't forget to plan for protection. Life is unpredictable. Emergencies happen. That's why having an emergency fund is so important. It's your safety net that prevents you from falling into debt when unexpected expenses arise. It's part of being responsible not just for yourself, but for your family. I want you to consider your financial legacy, not just your immediate comfort. What example will you leave? What systems, habits, or values will you pass on to those who come after you? Wealth is not just about accumulation, it's about contribution. The greatest wealth often lies in generosity, the ability to give back, to support causes, to help others improve their lives. This generosity comes not from excess, but from a mindset of abundance, of knowing that when you build well, you have enough to share. So, what is the call to action for you today? It's simple, but profound. Start where you are. Think differently about money. Believe in your ability to grow wealth. Take action daily. Begin with one small step. Open a savings account. Track your expenses. Read a chapter of a financial book. Invest a small amount. Set a goal. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Take imperfect action now and refine as you go. Commit to this journey with discipline and patience. Understand that wealth is not a sprint, but a marathon. It requires consistency, resilience, and focus. The power to change your financial future is in your hands. It always has been. Your mindset, your choices, your actions determine your destiny.